Hey, what is up, JMA fam? This morning we were on a radio interview with Andrew Colton from a radio station down in South Florida. He reached out to me to do an interview relating to the DeLand Police Department enacting a policy to bar and ban video and audio recording inside their lobby. They're trying to cite all kinds of stuff with, privacy. But as we know and you know, nothing you do with government is private. It's just the way it works. Marcy's law has been overturned, if you will, and anything that is done with the police department is usually recorded on body camera or the notes and so on and so forth. But let's take a look at this interview. I want to see what you guys think. I'll be answering questions and replying in the comments. And please share this here so we can get this message out. And if you heard in my other video, their PIO said that officers can grant you the right to record in the lobby. That's not the way this works. This is a constitutional violation, but let's jump to the video. Thanks for watching this, liking, subscribing, and sharing. See you soon.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Give us a little backstory here. Why is this important? Why are you involved with this group?
Hey, good morning. Yes, I'm a former police officer that turned into a civil rights activist due to an incident that occurred in my front yard where I was threatened to be arrested for, what was my wife filming. She had a camera. We had an issue with a neighbor, and the officers threatened to arrest me and take me to jail for having that camera. I became a civil rights activist because I knew something was going to be going on about it. But with these specific incidents, we just record to document our incidents with government while we go in and do public records requests or make contact for complaints.
So I know there was a situation in DeLand in Florida, if memory serves. And this has become a thing now where their police department has made it clear you're not allowed to videotape inside their offices, inside their lobby. And I got to tell you, I would be thrilled to be doing what you're doing because I believe that you have a right to videotape anything that a police officer does. That being said, I don't entirely disagree with a lobby being off limits solely because you've got people talking about very personal things that may have happened to them. And I would just suggest that there needs to be a place that people can talk to the police in private. Where's your line on this?
Yeah, that's correct. Once you make contact with any government official, there's no expectation of privacy. That's why when officers have body cameras on, those are subject to disclosure. When you email the government, they have a warning at the bottom that says all this email is subject to disclosure and public records. Even the chief there, Chief Umberger with the Land Police Department, in one of his statements said that we do have a room that we can take people in to enhance that bit of privacy. However, there's nothing private with law enforcement. I can request the body cameras and get that behind closed doors. Even Marcy law was overturned where victims are no longer exempt or protected from disclosure. So I'm not sure where this is coming from.
So, let me, number one, no one was more thrilled than I that Marcy's law was overturned. I thought it was a horrible law, and I, like you, believe everything should be public. That being said, let me ask you this, because I know that someone out there is listening and thinking this. When it comes to documenting what police are doing and having everything out there in the public, do you believe that, for instance, a rape victim should be able to have a private conversation with a law enforcement officer, with a detective, without it being out there, without you or somebody else, or me for that matter, standing there with a cell phone or a broadcast camera or a microphone documenting what's being said, so their investigations can get underway and this person who's already been victimized doesn't have to be victimized again? Where's your line on that?
Yeah, absolutely. In the initial investigation, when I was doing them and all that, we would bring them to a private room because there are multiple people in the lobby. Unfortunately, like DeLand is portraying, is that we just sit in the lobby to be there and sit there and record the interactions with the person at the front desk. It's 99% of the time not like that because I'm going in there specifically to document my public records requests because they don't usually give you an automatic reply saying, hey, we received your request. So that's the only evidence that I have to, say, here, I did do a request and this is when it was. But yes, 100%, when that initial contact is there, to have someone feel a little bit more comfortable, to talk to the law enforcement there, bring them to the side room like the chief agreed that he has. But again, the documents or the content within that they tell them is still going to be subject to public records. When you do that body camera request, you can see and hear everything.
Mark, just about a minute left. I'm curious on this. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signing this new legislation that if a cop tells you to stand 25 feet back, you need to stand 25 feet back. This is sure to be battled in court. I think it's another example of the governor going way too far for something that nobody asked for. But what's your take on this when it comes to videotaping and being told you have to stand X number of, basically yards away?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be abused. It's going to be one of those officers that sees you there. He's going to walk towards you and say, now you're 25 feet and under, and then make you move back. You'll be at 50 feet. He'll keep moving you back, he or she. I think that's how it's going to be abused. We have to have transparency. And as long as you're standing there peacefully recording and just documenting it, just like in the George Floyd incidents, then you should be able to do that without them coming after you.
You guys thinking about any any litigation on either of those two topics right now?
Yeah, we've reached out to a couple of attorneys that are near the Tallahassee area. They want $25,000 to start. The 4 or 5 of us that are in this area here are thinking about it and putting it down a retainer and seeing if we can't get that. But what will happen is one arrest will be made, and it should be overturned there with some case law.
I try not to advocate, but for this sort of thing, you guys start a Kickstarter campaign, let us know. I'll put it on the air. I appreciate your time this morning, Mark. With James Madison Audits joining us live this morning. I look forward to talking to you again, Mark. All right, Karen Curtis back in the studio. Sports Time at 8:26.